I think he has. I mean, I'm comparing him to his first term, and I think he is a more mature, more disciplined version of himself than he was in his first term. I'm on the side of America, and that is so important. Like, and that's where business leaders should be. It's just.
And do you think they're not?
No, I think we are, but we get perceived as being like, partisan or whatever. Like, I was helping Obama every chance I could. I was helping Biden every chance I could. I still call Obama for advice. He's a very smart guy. And, and by the way, people that are, Trump has lots of good ideas, and he's been right about a lot of things. You have to give him credit where credit is due.
Amazon founder Jeff Bezos sitting down yesterday with CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin, praising the president for his maturity as compared to his behavior during his first term. Let's bring in now MS Now political analyst Matthew Bartlett. He served as a U.S. State Department appointee during President Trump's first term, and former Republican governor of Ohio, John Kasich. He's an MS Now analyst and host of the John Kasich Show, launching this Saturday on Sirius XM. I don't know. I guess, John, do you want to try and make sense of what Jeff Bezos was saying there? Is the president maturing?
Look, what I've been thinking about, Mika, here lately is this what's called the YOLO caucus. I don't know if you've heard about this. This is a group of members of Congress who say the YOLO stands for you only live once. So therefore, they're asserting their independence and saying that they need to do what they need to do to stand up for themselves. And I look at that and I just kind of laugh. I mean, why would you be in that job and not be in a position to stand up for what you believe in, to represent your constituents, to feel good about yourself? I mean, what's happening is amazing. And the one question you'd like to ask Bezos is, and I've known him, why did you cancel the endorsement for president the last election? What was the point of that? I check out the Washington Post from time to time, but kind of my go-tos are the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. And I think they do a pretty good job of representing who they represent. But there's so many things swirling around, Mika, that oh, and by the way, I remember exactly where I was on January 6th. I remember exactly where I was walking. And I look with horror and the idea that anybody that was involved in the violence around that Capitol could somehow get money. This is another place where the Congress ought to step in and say, hey, wait a minute. If somebody's wrongly prosecuted, we've got to help them. But you can't have the structure that's set up, in my opinion, the way it is now. So maybe more people will join the YOLO caucus. I don't know. I can tell you this, Mika, when I was in Congress and your husband was in Congress, Joe, we were always independent. We didn't need to form a YOLO caucus because we realized when we were there, you only live once and you only have one opportunity to stand up and be something true to yourself.
I'm right.
Governor, can I ask you, just because you did serve in the Congress as well, just your impressions of the abdication by leadership in the Republican Party of their power as the first branch of the United States government that gets to control when we go to war, when tariffs are placed, who gets money and when they get it, all of those things that you took for granted probably that is your job and you can tell the president no, that Speaker Johnson and others have sort of just stepped by and said, well, the president's going to do what he wants to do. How do you get that back and remind our Congress and, frankly, the country how government's supposed to work?
Guts, but you got to remember something. This hasn't just been happening under Trump. This has been happening for a significant period of time. And both Democrat and Republican presidents have been able to gobble authority with their partisans in the Congress, allowing them to get it. And it is creating in some respects, a dysfunctional federal government based on what the founders want. They wanted a strong judiciary, they want a strong executive branch, but they want a strong legislative branch. And over time, we've created a disjointed situation here. And at some point, you would hope that the leaders would stand up and say, no, this is and look, the Democrats are going to win the House. There's no doubt in my mind, and they're going to probably win by a significant number. The question is, Hakeem Jeffries, who will probably be Speaker, how will he conduct himself? Is it going to be his job to just run a Democrat House and a Democrat policy, or is he going to be willing to reach out to Republicans on this issue alone and say, let's come together and let's try to seize our power back, which would then send a message to the Senate, which, by the way, is still up in the air, but likely to stay Republican. This is a conversation that I hope to have with Hakeem Jeffries. I probably will have with Nancy Pelosi to say, how can we do some things to bring our power back? And we can do it in a way that both Republicans and Democrats can actually work together. I mean, and look, when the government is dysfunctional, when Congress isn't able to act, what are they doing? One, about the debt. What are they doing about health care? And I'll bring another one up. What are they doing to put guardrails on AI? AI has the possibility of doing unbelievable things in healthcare. Amazing. It can extend our life expectancy. It can deal with the problems of addiction, mental illness. It can do so many things, but we need guardrails. Why is the Congress, what are they doing on this stuff? So normally the old phrase is, when the legislature is out of session, the country's safe. Well, when the legislature is in session or out of session, it seems as though they won't do any of the critical things they need to do, including at times stand up to the president.
Yeah, I hope that recalibration you're talking about happens. We'll see.